The Great Pyramid's construction, ancient Egypt's unsolved enigma. Welcome, dear listeners, to the first chapter of our series, Unsolved Mysteries of Ancient Egypt. Tonight, we journey back over 4,500 years to the sands of Giza, where a monument defies time and logic. This is the story of the Great Pyramid's construction, a feat so extraordinary that it continues to baffle scientists, historians, and dreamers alike. So find a quiet spot, let your imagination soar, and join me as we delve into a mystery that has stood the test of time, a monument to the gods. Our story begins around 2580 BCE, during the fourth dynasty of ancient Egypt's Old Kingdom, a time when pharaohs were seen as gods on earth. The Great Pyramid was built for Pharaoh Khufu, the second ruler of this dynasty, as a tomb to ensure his safe passage to the afterlife. Standing at 481 feet tall, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. Its base covers 13 acres, and it is composed of approximately 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons. The pyramid's sides are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, and its proportions incorporate mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio. But how did the ancient Egyptians achieve such precision without modern technology? The answer lies in a blend of ingenuity, labor, and perhaps secrets lost to time. The Egyptians believed the pyramid was a stairway to the heavens, a resurrection machine for the pharaoh's soul. Khufu's pyramid, known as Akhet Khufu or Khufu's horizon, was designed to align with the stars, particularly Orion's belt, which they associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. The pyramid's interior is a labyrinth of chambers and passages, including the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, and the grand gallery. Air shafts from the king's chamber point to specific stars, suggesting an astronomical purpose. But were these shafts for ventilation, or did they serve a more mystical role, guiding the pharaoh's spirit to the stars? The pyramid's construction is shrouded in mystery. Herodotus, the Greek historian who visited Egypt around 450 BCE, claimed it took 100,000 workers 20 years to build, using ramps to haul the stones. But modern estimates suggest 20,000 to 30,000 skilled laborers, not slaves, worked in rotating shifts. These workers lived in a nearby city, complete with bakeries, breweries, and medical facilities, as revealed by excavations led by Mark Lenner. They were well fed, with diets rich in bread, beer, and meat, indicating they were respected craftsmen. But how did they move the 2.3 million blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, from quarries hundreds of miles away? The Nile River played a key role, transporting stones during the flood season, but the final placement remains a puzzle. Theories of construction. The most accepted theory is the use of ramps. A straight ramp would have been too steep, so perhaps a zigzag ramp or an internal spiral ramp was used. Jean-Pierre Houdin, a French architect, proposed an internal ramp with evidence from a notch in the pyramid's corner and microgravimetry scans showing a spiral void. But if an internal ramp, how did they seal it without trace? Another theory suggests levers and counterweights, or even rolling the stones on logs. But logs would crush under the weight, and Egypt lacked sufficient wood. More speculative ideas abound. Some believe the Egyptians used sound waves or levitation, harnessing acoustic properties to move stones. Experiments show sound can levitate small objects, but scaling to 80 tons is fantasy. Others suggest ramps with water sluices, using wet sand to reduce friction. A 2014 study by the University of Amsterdam supported this, showing wet sand allows heavy loads to slide easier. But does it explain the precision? The pyramid's alignment is another enigma. Its sides are oriented to within 0.05 degrees of true north, more accurate than modern buildings. How without compasses? The Egyptians may have used the stars, aligning with Polaris or using shadow methods during equinoxes. The pyramid incorporates pi in its dimensions. The perimeter to height ratio is 2pi, and the golden ratio in its slopes. Were these intentional or coincidence? The Egyptians had advanced math, but the precision suggests lost knowledge. The pyramid's interior holds mysteries too. The king's chamber, made of granite, has relieving chambers above to distribute weight. But why 5 chambers, with the top one having a gabled roof? And the air shafts, do they align with stars for the pharaoh's soul, or were they for ventilation? In 1993, a robot discovered a door in one shaft, behind which lies an unknown chamber. In 2017, muon scanning revealed a void above the Grand Gallery 100 feet long. What is it? A hidden room? Structural support, sir? The Egyptian government restricts access, fueling speculation. Of the purpose beyond a tomb. The Great Pyramid is traditionally seen as Khufu's tomb, but no mummy was found inside, unlike other pyramids. Howard Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 showed what a pharaoh's burial looked like, but Khufu's pyramid was empty when explored by Caliph al-Mamun in 820 CE. Was it robbed or never used as a tomb? Some believe it was a power plant, generating energy through piezoelectricity from granite under pressure, or a resonance chamber using the Earth's vibrations. The king's chamber's dimensions create acoustic properties that resonate at frequencies linked to human consciousness. Experiments show strange effects, but is it intentional? Others see it as an astronomical observatory or initiation site for secret rites. The descending passage aligns with Polaris, the pole star in 2500 BCE, suggesting stellar navigation. The pyramid's location at the center of the world's landmass adds to the mystique. These theories, while speculative, highlight the pyramid's enigmas, modern discoveries, and ongoing debates. In recent years, technology has shed new light. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids project used muon radiography to detect the void above the Grand Gallery. In 2023, a hidden corridor was found using endoscopy. These discoveries suggest more chambers, perhaps containing Khufu's treasures or clues to construction. Debates rage over the workforce. Herodotus claimed 100,000 slaves, but evidence shows 20,000 skilled laborers in rotating shifts, living in a nearby city with bakeries and breweries. They were paid in bread and beer, and medical care was provided, as shown by healed fractures in skeletons. But how did they align the pyramid so precisely? Using the autumn equinox shadow method or astronomical observations? The questions persist. The pyramid's mathematical properties fascinate. Its base is a near-perfect square, with sides differing by less than 8 inches. The slope angle creates a saccade of 5.5, incorporating the golden ratio. Some believe it's encoded with prophecies or knowledge from Atlantis, but mainstream Egyptology dismisses this as pseudoscience. The allure of the unknown. The Great Pyramid's mystery lies in its perfection, a structure so advanced it seems impossible for its time. It challenges our understanding of ancient capabilities, inviting speculation about lost technologies or extraterrestrial help. But perhaps the true wonder is human ingenuity. the ability of our ancestors to achieve the extraordinary with determination and knowledge. As we reflect on this ancient enigma, we are left with the thrill of the unsolved, a testament to the power of mystery to inspire and intrigue. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as a guardian of secrets, its stones whispering tales of a time when humans reached for the stars. The Sphinx's true so age, the guardian's hidden origins. In the fading light of a desert sunset, the Great Sphinx of Giza gazes eastward, its weathered face a mask of eternal vigilance. For millennia, this colossal statue has stood guard over the pyramids, a silent sentinel of ancient Egypt's glory. But beneath its enigmatic smile lies a mystery that has puzzled scholars, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. How old is the Sphinx really? And who built it? Traditional history attributes it to Pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BCE, but emerging evidence suggests it may be far older, perhaps predating the pyramids themselves. What secrets does the Sphinx hold about Egypt's past? Could it be a relic of a lost civilization? And why does its age continue to spark controversy? Let us delve deeper into this ancient enigma, where history and myth intertwine, and the sands of time shift to reveal hidden truths. The traditional view and its foundations. For much of modern Egyptology, the Great Sphinx has been linked to Pharaoh Khafre, the builder of the second pyramid at Giza. This attribution is based on the Sphinx's location in Khafre's funerary complex and a statue in the Valley Temple that some believe depicts Khafre. The Sphinx, carved from a single limestone block, measures 240 feet long and 66 feet high, its human head symbolizing wisdom and its lion body representing strength. Egyptologists like Mark Lehner argue that the Sphinx was built around 2500 BCE as a guardian for Khafre's pyramid, its face modeled after the pharaoh himself. Excavations in the 19th and 20th centuries, including those by Auguste Mariette and Émile Barrès, uncovered evidence supporting this timeline. The Sphinx Temple, built from the same limestone as the Pyramid Causeway, suggests contemporaneous construction. Hieroglyphic inscriptions from the Dream Stele, placed by Thutmose III in 1400 BCE, refer to the Sphinx as already ancient, but they don't contradict the Khafre theory. However, as we examine the evidence more closely, cracks begin to appear in this foundation. The Sphinx's disproportionate head, smaller than expected for its body, hints at possible recarving. Could the original face have been that of a lion, reshaped later to honor Khafre? And if so, who carved the original? The erosion controversy. The Sphinx's age debate ignited in the 1990s with geologist Robert Schoch's groundbreaking theory. Studying the erosion patterns on the Sphinx's enclosure walls, Schoch noted deep vertical fissures consistent with water erosion from heavy rainfall. But Giza has been arid for 5,000 years. Rain erosion would require a wetter climate, dating back to 7,000 to 5,000 BCE, predating the pyramids by thousands of years. Schoch, collaborating with John Anthony West, proposed the Sphinx was built by a pre-dynastic civilization, perhaps Atlantis survivors, with the head recarved during the 4th dynasty. This theory sent shockwaves through Egyptology. Traditionalists like Zahi Hawass dismissed it, arguing the erosion was from wind, sand, or salt crystallization. But Schoch countered that wind erosion creates horizontal grooves, not vertical ones. Seismic surveys by Thomas Dobecki revealed the enclosure floor's weathering suggested the Sphinx was older than the pyramids. Could Schauk be right? If the Sphinx is 7,000 years old, it rewrites Egypt's history, suggesting an advanced civilization before the pharaohs. But who were they? And what cataclysm erased their memory? Alternative theories and hidden chambers. Beyond erosion, other theories challenge the Sphinx's age. Some point to astronomical alignments. The Sphinx faces east, aligning with the rising sun on the vernal equinox. Robert Bovall and Graham Hancock suggested originally aligned with Leo around 10,500 BCE, during the Age of Leo, linking it to a lost civilization. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, predicted the Sphinx guards a hall of records beneath its paws, containing Atlantis' knowledge. While Cayce's visions are speculative, ground-penetrating radar in the 1990s detected anomalies under the paws, including a chamber. Zahi Hawass explored a tunnel but found nothing conclusive. What lies in those hidden spaces? Ancient texts? Proof of a pre-pharaonic civilization? The Sphinx's head adds intrigue. Its smaller size and different erosion suggest recarving. John Anthony West proposed the original was a lion, recarved into a pharaoh's face during the 4th dynasty. This explains the disproportion and erosion differences. The body, exposed longer, shows more wear. If true, the Sphinx could date to 10,000 BCE or earlier, aligning with Schauk's theory. These ideas face criticism. Egyptologists like Lehner argue the Sphinx was built by Khafra, citing stylistic similarities with his statues. A 2014 study by Colin Reeder suggested erosion from runoff during the Old Kingdom's wetter periods, supporting the traditional timeline. The debate rages, a clash of science, history, and imagination. The Sphinx in myth and legend. The Sphinx has inspired myths across cultures. In Greek lore, the Sphinx was a monster posing riddles, devouring those who failed. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening? The answer: man. Oedipus solved it, causing the Sphinx's demise. But in Egyptian mythology, the Sphinx was a benevolent guardian, associated with Horus or Ra, protecting sacred sites. Islamic legends tell of the Sphinx losing its nose to a Sufi who defaced it as an idol in the 14th century. Earlier accounts blame erosion or cannon fire from Napoleon's troops in 1798, but sketches predating Napoleon show it noseless. The true culprit remains unknown, adding another layer to the mystery. The Sphinx's restoration has been controversial. In the 1980s, cement repairs caused damage, leading to international outcry. Modern efforts use limestone and advanced techniques, but the Sphinx continues to erode, a victim of pollution and rising groundwater. What will become of this ancient guardian as time marches on? A legacy of wonder. The Sphinx stands as a symbol of Egypt's enduring legacy, a guardian of secrets that may never be fully revealed. It challenges our understanding of history, inviting us to question the past and imagine what lies beyond the veil of time. Whether built by Khafre or an earlier civilization, its presence is a reminder of humanity's capacity for greatness and the mysteries that still await discovery. The enigma of the Sphinx's true age endures, a story that invites us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep marveling at the wonders of the ancient world. Cleopatra's Tomb, the lost legacy of Egypt's last queen. In the golden sands of Egypt, where the Nile River winds like a serpent through the desert, lies the mystery of Cleopatra's tomb, a burial place as elusive as the queen herself. Cleopatra's at its 7th, the last pharaoh of Egypt, was a woman of unparalleled intelligence, beauty, and ambition who ruled a kingdom on the brink of collapse and captivated the hearts of powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. But after her dramatic suicide in 30 BCE, her tomb vanished from history, leaving behind a trail of legends, theories, and unanswered questions. Where was she buried? What treasures lie with her? And why has her final resting place evaded discovery for over 2,000 years? Let us journey back to a time of empires and intrigue, to uncover the enigma of a queen whose legacy refuses to be buried, the queen who defied empires. Cleopatra VII ascended the throne in 51 BCE at the age of 18, co-ruling with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII. The Ptolemaic dynasty, founded by Ptolemy I after Alexander the Great's death, was Greek in origin but had adopted Egyptian customs. Cleopatra, however, embraced her Egyptian heritage more than her predecessors. She learned the Egyptian language, presented herself as the incarnation of Isis, and used her wit to navigate the treacherous politics of a dying kingdom. Her alliance with Julius Caesar in 48 BCE was a masterstroke. When Caesar arrived in Alexandria, Cleopatra had herself smuggled into his presence, wrapped in a carpet, according to legend. Their partnership secured her throne and produced a son, Caesarion. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE, she aligned with Mark Antony, one of the triumvirs ruling Rome. Their love affair was legendary, producing 3 children and scandalizing Rome. Antony and Cleopatra dreamed of a new empire blending East and West, but their ambitions clashed with Octavian, Caesar's heir. The Battle of Actium in 31 BCE was their undoing. Octavian's forces defeated Antony and Cleopatra's fleet, and as Roman legions approached Alexandria, the lovers chose death over capture. Antony fell on his sword, and Cleopatra, according to ancient accounts, allowed an asp to bite her. But was her suicide real or a clever escape? And where were they buried? Ancient historians like Plutarch and Cassius Dios claim Octavian allowed them to be interred together in a mausoleum Cleopatra had built. But the location was never specified, and the tomb vanished from records, legends of a hidden mausoleum. The mystery of Cleopatra's tomb has inspired countless legends. Some believe it lies beneath the streets of modern Alexandria, flooded by earthquakes and rising sea levels. In 2009, archaeologist Zahi Hawass announced the discovery of a tunnel under the Temple of Taposiris Magna, 30 miles west of Alexandria, which he thought led to the tomb. Excavations revealed coins bearing Cleopatra's image and a bust of Mark Antony, but no tomb. Hawass claimed the site was sacred to Isis, whom Cleopatra identified with, but the search yielded only minor artifacts. Another theory places the tomb in the Mediterranean Sea, submerged after ancient earthquakes. Divers have explored Alexandria's harbor, finding sunken ruins, but no royal mausoleum. Dominican archaeologist Kathleen Martinez, who has excavated Taposiris Magna since 2005, believes it's the site, citing alignments with the sun on Cleopatra's birthday. In 2023, her team found underwater tunnels, sparking renewed hope, but without a breakthrough, the mystery persists. Ancient accounts and add intrigue. Plutarch describes Cleopatra's mausoleum as a grand structure near her palace, where she and Antony died. Octavian, respecting her wish, buried them together with honor. But as Alexandria changed hands, from Romans to Arabs to modern Egypt, the tomb's location was lost. Was it deliberately hidden to prevent desecration, or destroyed by earthquakes, like the one in 365 CE that devastated the city. Conspiracies and modern searches. The tomb's elusiveness has fueled conspiracies. Some believe the Vatican or secret societies hid it to suppress evidence of Cleopatra's power or her ties to Jesus' era. Others suggest it's in the desert, guarded by traps like those in Tutankhamun's tomb. Those theories, while speculative, reflect the queen's enduring allure. Modern searches use technology like ground penetrating radar and satellite imaging. In 2010, Hawass explored underwater sites off Alexandria, finding statues but no tomb. Martinez's digs at Tapiceris Magna have uncovered shafts and artifacts, but the mausoleum remains elusive. In 2022, a tunnel under the temple was hailed as a geometric miracle, but excavations continue without a definitive find. The challenge is Alexandria's urban sprawl. Much of the ancient city lies beneath modern buildings, making digs difficult. Rising sea levels have submerged coastal areas, complicating underwater searches. Yet the hunt goes on, driven by the promise of treasures, gold, jewels, and perhaps Cleopatra's mummy, preserved in the Egyptian tradition. The Queen's enduring legacy. Cleopatra's life was a blend of politics, romance, and tragedy. As the last Ptolemaic ruler, she fought to preserve Egypt's independence against Rome's might. Her relationships with Caesar and Antony were strategic alliances, producing heirs to strengthen her position. But Octavian's propaganda painted her as a seductress, a narrative that persisted through Shakespeare and Hollywood. Her death marked the end of pharaonic Egypt as Octavian annexed the kingdom, becoming Augustus, Rome's first emperor. Cleopatra's children were paraded in triumph, but her son Caesarion was killed to eliminate rivals. Her tomb, if found, could rewrite history, revealing details about her burial rites or final days. The mystery of Cleopatra's tomb is a reminder that history is full of gaps, where legends fill the voids. It invites us to question what we know and to imagine what might be. As we reflect on this ancient enigma, we are left with the thrill of the unsolved, a testament to the power of mystery to endure. The enigma of Cleopatra's tomb endures, a story that challenges us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep dreaming of the day when the sands will yield their greatest secret. The Curse of the Pharaohs. Whispers from the Tomb. Imagine the flickering light of a torch casting long shadows on the walls of an ancient tomb, where the air is thick with the dust of centuries, and the faint scent of incense lingers like a ghost. This is the world of the pharaohs, rulers who believed their power extended beyond death, protected by curses that would strike down any who dared disturb their eternal rest. The Curse of the Pharaohs, a legend born from the tombs of Egypt, has haunted explorers, archaeologists, and the public imagination for generations. But is it a supernatural force, a deadly ancient trap, or something more earthly? And why does it continue to claim lives long after the tombs were opened? Let us journey back to a time of gods and kings to uncover a mystery that blurs the line between myth and reality. The origins of the legend. The Curse of the Pharaohs has its roots in ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. The Egyptians viewed death as a transition to eternal life, and the tomb was a sacred space, a gateway to the underworld. To protect the pharaoh's body and treasures from robbers, priests inscribed curses on the tomb walls or sealed them with spells. These curses invoked the wrath of the gods, promising disease, death, or eternal damnation to intruders. For example, an inscription in the tomb of Kandika Ikeki warns, "As for all men who shall enter this my tomb, impure, there will be judgment, an end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird. I shall cast the fear of myself into him." But these curses were more than words. They were believed to have real power. The Egyptians practiced magic as part of their religion, using amulets, spells, and rituals to ward off evil. The pharaoh, seen as a god on earth, was thought to retain his power in death, capable of punishing those who desecrated his resting place. And this belief was so strong that tomb robbers often worked in secret, fearing not just earthly punishment, but divine retribution. Yet despite these warnings, many tombs were looted in antiquity, their treasures scattered or melted down. So if the curses were real, why didn't they stop the thieves? Or did they work in ways we can't understand? The discovery that awakened the curse. The modern legend of the Pharaoh's curse exploded in 1922 with the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb by Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon. Tutankhamun, the boy king who ruled from 1332 to 1323 BCE, died young, and his tomb was sealed and forgotten, escaping the robbers who plagued the Valley of the Kings. When Carter's team broke through the door, they found a treasure trove untouched by time: gold, jewels, and the pharaoh's mummified body. But as the world celebrated, whispers of a curse began. An inscription reportedly read, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who shall disturb the peace of the king." Shortly after, Lord Carnarvon died from an infected mosquito bite, his death coinciding with a blackout in Cairo and the howl of his dog back in England. Carter's canary was eaten by a cobra, symbol of the pharaoh. Over the next decade, 11 people connected to the tomb died prematurely, fueling the legend. But was it a curse or coincidence? Carter himself dismissed it, living until 1939. Of the 58 people present at the opening, only 8 died within 12 years, a normal rate. Yet the media sensationalized the deaths, turning the curse into a global phenomenon. Scientific explanations point to natural causes. Tombs sealed for millennia could harbor mold, bacteria, or toxins like Aspergillus flavus, causing respiratory illness. A 2002 study found higher levels of bacteria in tombs, but no definitive link to a curse. Radiation from granite or radon gas is another theory, but levels are too low to kill quickly. These explanations demystify the curse, but they don't explain the timing or selectivity of the deaths. Other tombs and their curses. The curse isn't limited to Tutankhamun. In 1972, the mummy of Pharaoh Ramses II was flown to Paris for restoration. The pilot fell ill, and a worker died of cancer, reviving the legend. In 2003, an Egyptian archaeologist died after opening a tomb, attributed to the curse. But these incidents are often coincidental, amplified by media. Ancient Egyptians did use physical traps, pitfalls, falling stones, and false doors to deter robbers. In some tombs, archaeologists found evidence of such mechanisms, but the psychological power of the curse was perhaps their greatest defense, instilling fear in potential thieves. The curse's legacy extends beyond Egypt. It inspired literature like Arthur Conan Doyle's The Ring of Thoth and films like The Mummy. It reflects our fascination with the supernatural and the idea that disturbing the dead invites retribution. But is the curse real? Some believe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those who fear it become stressed, weakening their health. Others see it as a metaphor for the dangers of hubris, a warning that tampering with the past has consequences. The mystery of the Pharaoh's curse endures, a story that challenges us to confront the unknown and to respect the boundaries between life and death. It invites us to wonder what other secrets lie buried in the sands, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. The Lost Labyrinth of Egypt, an underground enigma. Imagine descending into a vast underground complex where corridors stretch endlessly in the darkness and the air is heavy with the dust of forgotten centuries. This is the Lost Labyrinth of Egypt, a legendary structure said to rival the pyramids in grandeur and mystery. Described by ancient historians as a maze of 3,000 rooms filled with wonders and secrets, it has eluded explorers for over 2,000 years. But does it really exist? What purpose did it serve? And why has it remained hidden beneath the sands? Let us journey back to a time of pharaohs and enigmas to uncover a mystery that has puzzled scholars and adventurers alike. A tale from the ancients. Our story begins in the 5th century BCE, when the Greek historian Herodotus visited Egypt and recorded his observations in the histories. Herodotus described a labyrinth near Lake Moeris in the Fayum oasis as a structure built by the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty. He claimed it had 3,000 rooms, half above ground and half below, connected by winding passages designed to confuse and trap intruders. The upper rooms were accessible, but the lower ones were forbidden, said to contain the tombs of sacred crocodiles and kings. Herodotus was awestruck by its size and complexity, calling it a work surpassing the pyramids. He mentioned roofs of stone, walls covered with carvings, and courtyards surrounded by columns. But Herodotus never entered the lower levels, relying on hearsay for his descriptions. This has led some to question his account. Was it exaggerated or based on a real structure? Later writers like Strabo and Pliny the Elder echoed his words, but none provided a precise location or proof. The labyrinth was associated with Pharaoh Amenemhet III, who ruled around 1800 BCE. Amenemhet built a pyramid at Hawara, near Lake Moeris, and archaeological evidence suggests a large mortuary temple attached to it. In the 19th century, British archaeologist Flinders Petrie excavated Hawara, finding remnants of a massive building with columns and chambers. Petrie believed this was Herodotus's labyrinth, but its scale didn't match the description. Only about 1,000 rooms, not 3,000, and no underground maze. Was Petrie wrong, or is the true labyrinth still hidden? The search for the lost wonder. For centuries, the labyrinth was considered one of the wonders of the world, alongside the pyramids and the hanging gardens. But as time passed, its location was forgotten, buried under the shifting sands of the Fayum. In the 19th century, as Egyptology boomed, explorers like Richard Lepsius and Carl Richard Lepsius revisited Herodotus's accounts. Lepsius surveyed Hawara in 1843, finding ruins that he believed were the labyrinth, but his excavations were limited. Flinders Petrie's work in 1888 was more thorough. He uncovered the foundations of a large structure with granite columns and limestone walls. Petrie concluded it was the labyrinth, but noted that much had been destroyed by Roman quarrying for lime. He found no underground chambers, leading some to speculate that the lower levels remain buried or flooded by the changing water levels of Lake Moeris. Modern technology has revived the hunt. In 2008, a Belgian-Egyptian team used ground-penetrating radar at Hawara detecting massive structures beneath the surface, including what could be underground rooms. The scan suggested a labyrinth like layout, with corridors and chambers extending deep underground. But excavations were halted due to high groundwater, leaving the discovery incomplete. In 2010, the Mataha expedition claimed to have found the labyrinth, but their findings were not peer reviewed, and skepticism remains. What lies beneath Hawara? Is it the fabled labyrinth or something else? Theories and speculations. The labyrinth's purpose is as mysterious as its location. Herodotus claimed it was a mortuary temple for 12 kings, with upper rooms for gatherings and lower ones for tombs. Some believe it was a ceremonial center, its maze symbolizing the journey to the afterlife. Others suggest it was a storage facility for grain or treasures, protected by its complex design. A more intriguing theory links it to advanced knowledge. Herodotus described mechanical wonders, like doors that opened with hidden mechanisms. Some speculate it was a library or school of mysteries, holding Egypt's secret wisdom. Plato mentioned a similar labyrinth in his Critias, perhaps inspired by Herodotus, connecting it to Atlantis. Could the labyrinth be a remnant of a lost civilization? The underground aspect adds intrigue. If the lower levels exist, they could hold mummies, artifacts, or texts revealing Egypt's hidden history. But flooding and instability make exploration dangerous. In 2015, a team proposed using robots to map the site, but funding issues stalled the project. The labyrinth remains a tantalizing puzzle, its secrets just out of reach. A legacy buried in sand. The Lost Labyrinth is more than a myth, it's a symbol of Egypt's enduring enigma. It represents the ingenuity of a civilization that built wonders like the pyramids, but also the fragility of history, where great works can be lost to time. If found, it could rewrite Egyptology, revealing new insights into the 12th dynasty and beyond. But the labyrinth's legacy is also a cautionary tale. Herodotus warned of its complexity, a metaphor for the twists of fate. It reminds us that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, their allure lying in the unknown. As we reflect on this ancient enigma, we are left with the thrill of discovery, a reminder that the past holds wonders waiting to be uncovered. The enigma of the Lost Labyrinth invites us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep dreaming of what lies beneath the sands. The Dendera Light Bulb, ancient Egypt's illuminated enigma. Imagine wandering through the dimly lit halls of an ancient temple, where the walls are adorned with intricate carvings that seem to pulse with life under the flicker of torchlight. This is the Dendera Temple complex in Egypt, dedicated to the goddess Hathor, a place where the boundaries between myth and reality blur. Among its many wonders is a series of reliefs that depict what looks remarkably like modern light bulbs, elongated bulbs connected to cables, held by figures in a scene that defies explanation. Known as the Dendera light bulb, this carving has sparked debates for over a century. Is it evidence of advanced technology in ancient Egypt, or simply a symbolic representation of myth? How could a civilization without electricity depict something so strikingly modern? And what other secrets might these walls hold? Let us journey back to a time of gods and pharaohs to uncover an enigma that challenges our understanding of the past. The Temple of Hathor and its secrets. Our story begins in the Ptolemaic period of ancient Egypt, around 50 BCE, when the Dendera Temple was rebuilt on the site of an older structure. Dedicated to Hathor, the goddess of love, music, and motherhood, the temple is a masterpiece of Egyptian architecture, its walls covered in detailed reliefs depicting rituals, gods, and pharaohs. But in the crypts below the main temple, a series of carvings stand out for their peculiarity. These reliefs show a bulb-like object resting on a dajed pillar, a symbol of stability, connected to what looks like a cable or snake held by priests or gods. At one end is a lotus flower from which emerges a serpent or energy beam. To the uninitiated, it resembles an electric light bulb, complete with filament and socket. Discovered in the 19th century by French Egyptologist Auguste Mariette, the carvings were initially seen as religious symbols. But in the 20th century, alternative theorists like Erich von Däniken proposed a radical idea. They depict ancient electric lights, evidence that the Egyptians had electricity thousands of years before Thomas Edison. Von Däniken's book, Chariots of the Gods, popularized this theory, suggesting the bulb was a glass vessel filled with gas or liquid to produce light, powered by an unknown energy source. He argued that the Darjadi pillar was an insulator, the snake a filament, and the lotus a socket. This interpretation spread like wildfire, inspiring books, documentaries, and debates. But is there any truth to it? Or is it a case of modern eyes seeing what they want in ancient art, symbolism, or science? Mainstream Egyptologists dismiss the light bulb theory as pseudoscience. They argue the reliefs depict mythological scenes related to creation and rebirth. The bulb is a representation of the primeval mound or a container for the god Harsamtus, who emerges as a snake from a lotus flower, a common motif in Egyptian cosmology symbolizing the birth of the sun god. The Djed pillar represents stability and Osiris's backbone, while the cable is the stem of the lotus, or a symbolic connection to the divine. The temple's context supports this. Dendera was a center for Hathor's cult, associated with fertility and renewal. The crypts, where the reliefs are found, were used for rituals celebrating the new year and the rebirth of the sun. The carvings likely illustrate these myths, not technology. Egyptologists like Zahi Hawass point out that no evidence of electricity, wires, batteries, or light fixtures has been found in Egyptian sites. The Egyptians used oil lamps and torches, as depicted in other reliefs. But the theory persists. Proponents cite the Baghdad Battery, an ancient artifact that could generate electricity, suggesting the Egyptians had similar knowledge. They argue the reliefs show practical lighting for temple rituals in dark chambers. Experiments replicating the Dendera bulb with plasma or gas have produced light, but these are modern interpretations, not proof. The debate raises intriguing questions. Could the Egyptians have had electricity? Their knowledge of metallurgy and chemistry was advanced. They electroplated objects with gold using basic batteries. But scaling to light bulbs seems far-fetched. Or is the truth a blend, symbolism inspired by observed phenomena like static electricity or bioluminescence? The temple's broader mysteries. The Dendera temple holds other enigmas. Built during the Ptolemaic period, 305-30 BCE, it incorporates older structures, perhaps from the Middle Kingdom. The zodiac on the ceiling depicting constellations is the oldest known, but its accuracy suggests advanced astronomy. Some see UFOs or helicopters in carvings, but these are pareidolia, modern eyes seeing familiar shapes in abstract art. The temple's crypts where the light bulb reliefs are, were restricted to priests, used for storing sacred objects and performing rituals. The carvings may depict the raising of the Jed, a ceremony symbolizing Osiris's resurrection. The bulb could be a representation of the sun emerging from the underworld, not a light source. But alternative theorists see evidence of lost technology. Peter Krause and Reinhard Habeck's Light for the Pharaohs claims the Egyptians used arc lamps powered by high-voltage electricity. They cite the absence of soot in tombs as proof of electric lighting, but Egyptologists explain this with ventilation and clean burning lamps. The controversy highlights a divide between mainstream archaeology and fringe theories. While the light bulb idea is dismissed, it has popularized Dendera, drawing visitors eager to see the evidence for themselves. The temple's true purpose, as a center for Hathor's worship, celebrating joy, music, and fertility, remains a testament to Egypt's rich spiritual heritage, modern investigations, and revelations. In recent years, the Dendera Light has been the subject of scientific scrutiny. In 2010, a team from the University of Manchester used reflectance transformation imaging to study the reliefs, revealing hidden details but no evidence of technology. In 2018, as a study of Egyptian lighting concluded they used reflectors and oil lamps, not electricity. But the theory's appeal lies in its challenge to history. If the Egyptians had electricity, it upends our timeline of invention. Proponents cite the Baghdad Battery and arc-like depictions in tombs as proof. Egyptologists counter with geological and cultural evidence. The reliefs match mythological motifs, not inventions. The Dendera mystery is a reminder that ancient art is symbolic, not literal. It invites us to appreciate the Egyptians' imagination, where gods and nature intertwined. But the question lingers: what if there's more to the carvings than myth? Could they hint at lost knowledge waiting to be rediscovered? The enigma of the Dendera light bulb invites us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep marveling at the mysteries of the past. It is a tale that reminds us that some secrets are not meant to be solved, but to inspire us with their wonder. The Unfinished Obelisk, Aswan's giant left behind. Imagine wandering through a vast quarry under the relentless Egyptian sun, where the air shimmers with heat and the ground is scarred by ancient chisel marks. This is Aswan, the southern gateway to Egypt, a place where the Nile River carves through granite cliffs and where one of the ancient world's most ambitious projects lies abandoned, frozen in time. Here, half carved into the bedrock, rests the Unfinished Obelisk, a colossal stone needle that would have been the largest ever erected, over 137 feet long and weighing more than 1,100 tons. But why was this giant left incomplete? What catastrophe or miscalculation halted its creation? And what does it reveal about the engineering prowess and limitations of ancient Egypt? Let us journey back to a time of pharaohs and monumental dreams to uncover an enigma that continues to baffle archaeologists and engineers alike, a monument to ambition. The story of the Unfinished Obelisk begins in the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt, around 1500 BCE, during the reign of Queen Hatshepsut, or perhaps Thutmose III's. Obelisks were towering symbols of power and devotion, erected to honor the gods and commemorate the pharaoh's achievements. Carved from a single piece of granite, they were transported down the Nile to temples in Thebes or Heliopolis, where they stood as fingers of the sun god Ra, their pyramid-shaped tips sheathed in gold to catch the light. The unfinished obelisk was intended to be the grandest of them all. If completed, it would have dwarfed the Lateran obelisk in Rome, which stands at 105 feet. Its base measures 13.8 feet square, tapering to a point that would have pierced the sky. But something went wrong. As workers chiseled away at the bedrock, a massive crack appeared along its length, rendering it unusable. The project was abandoned, leaving the obelisk lying in the quarry like a fallen giant, a testament to human ambition and the unforgiving nature of stone. But the obelisk's abandonment raises intriguing questions. Was the crack a natural flaw in the granite, or the result of a miscalculation in the quarrying process? Ancient Egyptian quarrymen were masters of their craft, using wooden wedges soaked in water to split the stone or pounding balls of dolerite to carve it away. They knew the granite's grain and how to avoid defects. So, how did such a catastrophic failure occur? And what does this reveal about the limits of their technology? The quarry's silent witnesses. The Aswan quarries were the lifeblood of Egypt's monumental architecture. Granite from here built the cores of pyramids, lined the chambers of tombs, and formed the bases of statues. The unfinished obelisk lies in the northern quarry, surrounded by the scars of ancient labor, chisel marks, abandoned tools, and smaller obelisks left in various stages of completion. These silent witnesses tell a story of toil and precision. Workers would first outline the obelisk's shape on the bedrock, then pound away the surrounding stone using dolerite balls weighing up to 12 pounds, swung in rhythmic motion. To split the obelisk free, they inserted wooden wedges into slots along the sides, soaking them with water to expand and crack the stone. But for the unfinished obelisk, something failed. The crack, running the length of the monument, may have been caused by a hidden fault in the granite, or perhaps by the stress of the carving process. Whatever the cause, the loss was immense, not just in materials, but in the labor of hundreds of men over months or years. The obelisk's size adds to the mystery. At 1,200 tons, it would have been impossible to move using known methods. Smaller obelisks were transported on barges down the Nile during the flood season, but this giant would have required unprecedented engineering. Did the Egyptians have plans for a massive ramp or lever system, or was the project doomed from the start, a hubristic overreach? The unfinished obelisk lies as a humbling reminder that even the mightiest civilizations had their limits. But the quarry holds other secrets. Nearby are unfinished statues and sarcophagi, abandoned for unknown reasons. These relics suggest that Aswan was a hub of activity, with thousands of workers laboring under the sun. Tombs and inscriptions reveal the lives of these craftsmen, skilled artisans, not slaves, who took pride in their work. Yet the unfinished obelisk stands as a monument to failure, a puzzle that invites us to wonder what might have been. Theories of abandonment and purpose. The unfinished obelisk's abandonment has sparked numerous theories. The most straightforward is a structural failure. The crack rendered it unusable, and the cost of starting over was too great. But some speculate it was deliberate. Perhaps the pharaoh who commissioned it died before completion, and his successor had different priorities. Hatshepsut, known for her obelisks at Karnak, may have ordered it, but her damnatio memoriae after death could have halted the project. Another theory suggests the obelisk was a test or prototype, designed to push the limits of quarrying technology. Its size, 42 meters long, would have been a record, twice that of Hatshepsut's Karnak obelisks. If successful, it would have been a statement of power, but the crack exposed the granite's limits, leading to abandonment. The obelisk's purpose is clear. It was meant for a temple, perhaps Karnak or Luxor, to honor the gods and the pharaoh. Obelisks were rays of the sun, their tips sheathed in electrum to reflect Ra's light. But why such size? Was it ego or a religious imperative? The Egyptians believed larger monuments brought greater favor from the gods. Yet the unfinished obelisk's fate suggests the gods had other plans. Modern studies have revealed more secrets. Laser scanning shows the obelisk was nearly detached when the crack appeared, with wedge marks along its sides. This confirms the wedge method, but raises questions about quality control. How did they miss the flaw? Some theorize seismic activity or temperature changes caused the crack, but evidence is scarce. Modern discoveries and enduring mysteries. In the 21st century, the unfinished obelisk is a UNESCO site, drawing visitors to Aswan's quarries. But it still holds mysteries. Ground-penetrating radar has detected anomalies in the bedrock, suggesting other unfinished projects buried below. In 2023, a team from the University of Liverpool used 3D modeling to simulate the extraction process, concluding that 4,000 workers could have freed it in months. But transporting it? The Nile was key, but maneuvering 1,200 tons onto a barge seems impossible without ramps or levers we've yet to understand. Alternative theories abound. Some claim extraterrestrial help or lost technologies like sound levitation, but these lack evidence. More plausibly, the Egyptians used copper tools hardened by arsenic, but cutting granite remains laborious. The obelisk's abandonment may have been economic. The resources needed to start over were diverted to other projects. The unfinished obelisk reminds us that ancient Egypt, for all its glory, was not infallible. It humanizes the pharaohs, showing even gods on earth faced failure. But it also inspires wonder. What if it had been completed? How would it have looked towering over the Nile? As we reflect on this ancient enigma, we are left with the thrill of the unsolved, a testament to the power of mystery to endure. The unfinished obelisk invites us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep marveling at the wonders of the past. The Saqqara Bird, Egypt's winged wonder. Imagine holding in your hands a small wooden bird, its wings spread as if ready to soar through the skies of ancient Egypt. This is the Saqqara Bird, an artifact unearthed from the sands of Saqqara in 1898, a relic that has sparked debates about lost technologies and ancient ingenuity for over a century. Carved from sycamore wood, weighing just 39 grams and measuring 7 inches long, it resembles a falcon with its streamlined body and outstretched wings. But is it merely a child's toy, a ceremonial object, or something far more extraordinary, a model of an ancient aircraft? Discovered in the tomb of Pa-di-Imen, dated to around 200 BC during the Ptolemaic period, the bird's aerodynamic design has led to speculation that the Egyptians possessed a knowledge of flight millennia before the Wright brothers. But how could this be? What evidence supports such a bold claim? And what does this tiny bird reveal about the technological prowess of a civilization that built the pyramids? Let us journey back to the banks of the Nile to uncover an enigma that challenges our understanding of the past and ignites the imagination. The discovery in Saqqara's sands. The story of the Saqqara bird begins in the late 19th century, during a time when Egypt's ancient tombs were yielding treasures that would rewrite history. In 1898, French archaeologist Victor Loret was excavating the tomb of Padi Emin in Saqqara, a vast necropolis near Memphis that served as the burial ground for Egypt's elite. Among the artifacts, pottery, amulets, and funerary goods, Loret found a small wooden object shaped like a bird. At first, it seemed unremarkable, perhaps a toy or a votive offering. Loret cataloged it and sent it to the Cairo Museum, where it languished in storage for decades, labeled as a falcon representing the god Horus. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that the bird caught the attention of Dr. Khalil Messiha, an Egyptian physician and amateur archaeologist. Messiha noticed the bird's unusual design. Its wings were flat and straight, its tail vertical like a rudder, and its body aerodynamic, lacking the legs typical of bird representations in Egyptian art. He hypothesized that it was not a symbolic falcon, but a model glider or aircraft, evidence of advanced knowledge in ancient Egypt. Messiha's theory gained traction in the 1970s with the rise of ancient astronaut hypotheses, popularized by authors like Erich von Däniken, who suggested that the Egyptians had contact with extraterrestrials or possessed lost technologies. The bird's dimensions are precise: a wingspan of 7.1 inches, a length of 5.6 inches, and a weight that allows it to glide when thrown. Modern tests with replicas have shown it can fly short distances, but is this proof of ancient aviation or mere coincidence? The debate has divided experts, with Egyptologists dismissing the idea as fantasy, while alternative theorists see it as a smoking gun for lost knowledge, an aerodynamic anomaly or symbolic falcon. The Saqqara bird's design is what makes it so intriguing. Its wings are dihedral, meaning they angle upward, providing stability in flight, a feature seen in modern aircraft. The tail is vertical, acting as a stabilizer, and the body is streamlined for minimal drag. There are no markings or inscriptions on the bird, but its shape deviates from typical Egyptian falcon depictions, which usually have folded wings and prominent legs. Dr. Messiha's tests in the 1970s showed that replicas could glide, but critics argue that many objects can glide if thrown correctly. In 2002, aerospace engineer Simon Sanderson built a scale model and tested it in a wind tunnel, finding it had good gliding performance. However, without a horizontal stabilizer, it couldn't sustain controlled flight. This suggests it might be a toy or model, but not proof of ancient airplanes. Egyptologists like Zahi Hawass maintain it's a symbolic falcon, representing Horus or the soul, Ba, in the afterlife. Birds were common in tombs as offerings or symbols of resurrection. The bird's lack of legs could indicate it's in flight, a common artistic convention. But if it's just a toy, why bury it in a high official's tomb? And how does one explain the aerodynamic features? These questions keep the mystery alive, a puzzle that challenges our view of ancient capabilities. Ancient Egypt and the dream of flight. To understand the Saqqara bird, we must explore ancient Egypt's fascination with flight. The Egyptians worshipped bird-headed gods, like Horus the falcon and Thoth the ibis, symbols of the sky and wisdom. Myths tell of gods flying on wings or solar boats across the heavens. Tomb paintings depict souls as birds, flying from the body at death. But did they attempt flight? Some point to the Dendera Light reliefs or Baghdad Battery as evidence of advanced tech, but these are debated. The Egyptians had gliders or kites. Evidence is scant. Hot air balloons using fire and fabric? Unlikely given materials. The Saqqara bird could be a model for understanding bird flight, perhaps for hunting or religious purposes. Alternative theories suggest extraterrestrial influence. Von Däniken's Chariots of the Gods claims the bird is a scale model of an aircraft, proof of alien contact. Proponents cite its similarity to modern planes, but critics say it's pareidolia, seeing patterns where none exist. Wind tunnel tests show it glides, but so do many bird shapes. The theory persists, fueling debates about ancient tech, modern tests, and ongoing debates. In recent years, the Saqqara bird has been studied with advanced tools. In 2018, a team from the University of Manchester used 3D scanning to analyze its shape, finding aerodynamic properties but concluding it's likely a votive object. A 2020 study in Aero Journal tested replicas with added tails, showing sustained flight, but this modifies the original. The bird's wood, sycamore, is native to Egypt, and radiocarbon dating confirms its age. No tool marks suggest advanced carving, but Egyptians had copper tools capable of working wood. The mystery lies in intent. Was it designed for flight or coincidence? The Saqqara bird reminds us that ancient peoples were innovative, their artifacts holding clues to their world. It challenges us to look beyond assumptions and embrace the unknown. The enigma of the Saqqara bird invites reflection on the boundaries of ancient knowledge and the power of imagination to bridge the gaps of history. The mystery of Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh, and the abandoned city of Amarna. Imagine a pharaoh who dared to challenge the gods of his ancestors, a ruler who upended the religious order of ancient Egypt and built a city in the desert to honor his new faith. This is the story of Akhenaten, the heretic pharaoh who reigned from 1353 to 1336 BCE, a man whose radical reforms and mysterious legacy continue to puzzle historians and archaeologists. Akhenaten abandoned the traditional pantheon to worship a single god, the Aten, the sun disk, and founded the city of Amarna as his new capital. But after his death, Amarna was abandoned, its temples destroyed, and Akhenaten's name erased from history. Why did he turn his back on the old gods? What secrets lie buried in the ruins of Amarna? And was his revolution a divine vision or a path to ruin? Let us journey back to a time of faith and upheaval to uncover an enigma that challenges our understanding of ancient Egypt's spiritual world. A pharaoh's radical vision. Akhenaten was born Amenhotep IV, the son of Amenhotep III, one of Egypt's most prosperous pharaohs. His early life was steeped in the traditions of the 18th dynasty, a time when Egypt's empire stretched from Nubia to Syria, and the gods like Amun, Ra, and Osiris were worshipped in grand temples. But around the 5th year of his reign, Amenhotep IV underwent a transformation. He changed his name to Akhenaten, meaning effective for the Aten, and declared the Aten, the sun disk, as the supreme deity, diminishing the role of other gods. This shift was revolutionary. For millennia, Egypt's religion was polytheistic, with a pantheon of gods governing every aspect of life. Akhenaten's monotheism, or henotheism, as some scholars call it, since he didn't deny other gods but suppressed their worship, was unprecedented. He closed temples dedicated to Amun, the chief god, and redirected resources to the Aten. But what drove this change? Some believe a personal revelation or solar eclipse inspired him. Others suggest political motives to weaken the powerful Amun priesthood that rivaled the pharaoh's authority. Akhenaten's mother, Queen Tiye, and his wife Nefertiti may have influenced him, as busts show them with elongated skulls, perhaps from inbreeding or a symbolic representation of divine status. Akhenaten's art broke from tradition. Previous pharaohs were depicted as idealized figures, but Akhenaten's statues show him with feminine features, a swollen belly, and elongated limbs, a style called Amarna art. Was this a realistic portrayal or a symbolic blend of male and female to represent fertility? The mystery deepens with his family, Nefertiti, often shown as his equal, and their 6 daughters. Some speculate Akhenaten had a genetic condition like Marfan syndrome, explaining his appearance, but evidence is inconclusive. The city built for the sun. To fully embrace his new faith, Akhenaten founded a new capital, Akhetaten, horizon of the Aten, now known as Amarna. Located midway between Thebes and Memphis, it was built from scratch in the desert, a planned city with palaces, temples, and homes for 50,000 people. The great temple to the Aten was open to the sky, allowing the sun's rays to flood the altars, a departure from the dark, enclosed temples of old. Amarna was a utopia for Akhenaten's vision, but its construction was rushed with poor quality materials that have left ruins today. The city thrived for 17 years, but after Akhenaten's death, it was abandoned. His successors, including Tutankhamun, restored the old gods, and Amarna was dismantled, its stones reused, its memory erased. Why the haste to obliterate it? Was Akhenaten's reign seen as a curse? And what happened to Nefertiti, who vanishes from records around year 12? Did she die or rule as co-regent under a different name? Excavations at Amarna have revealed a city of contrasts, grand palaces alongside slums, suggesting social inequality. Tombs of nobles show Akhenaten's family in intimate scenes, but his own tomb remains elusive. Some believe it's in the royal wadi at Amarna, but others think his body was moved to the Valley of the Kings. The city's abandonment raises questions. Was it cursed or simply impractical without Akhenaten's vision? The heretic's downfall and erasure. Akhenaten's death around 1336 BCE marked the end of his revolution. His young son, Tutankhaten, ascended the throne but soon changed his name to Tutankhamun, restoring Amun's worship. Temples to the Aten were dismantled, and Akhenaten's name was chiseled from monuments, a damnatio memoriae, to erase his heresy. But why such hatred? Akhenaten's reforms disrupted the economy. The Amun priesthood's closure cost jobs and revenue. His focus on the Aten alienated the people who revered the old gods. Some suggest he suffered from a religious mania or physical ailments that influenced his decisions. His elongated skull and feminine features have led to theories of genetic disorders like Marfan syndrome or Froehlich's syndrome, but mummified remains are disputed. The erasure was thorough, statues defaced, cartouches removed, but traces remain, like the Amarna's letters, diplomatic correspondence revealing Egypt's weakened state under Akhenaten. His neglect of foreign affairs led to lost territories, contributing to his negative legacy. But was he a mad heretic or a visionary ahead of his time, introducing monotheism centuries before Judaism's consolidation? Modern discoveries and lingering mysteries. Amarna's ruins were rediscovered in the 18th century, but systematic excavations began in the 19th with Flinders Petrie. In 1912, Ludwig Borchardt found the famous Nefertiti bust, now in Berlin's Neues Museum. Recent digs have uncovered bakeries, breweries, and glass factories, showing Amarna's self sufficiency. DNA tests on Tutankhamun's mummy in 2010 confirmed Akhenaten as his father, but Nefertiti's role is debated. She may be his mother or stepmother. Akhenaten's mummy, identified as KV55, shows signs of genetic abnormalities, but identification is controversial. Amarna's abandonment is puzzling. After Tutankhamun's death, the city was deserted, its buildings dismantled. Was it a curse? Or practical, too remote and tied to Akhenaten's heresy? Ground penetrating radar has revealed hidden structures, but excavations are limited. Akhenaten's monotheism has led to theories linking him to Moses or biblical figures, suggesting his ideas influenced Judaism. Sigmund Freud's Moses and monotheism proposed Moses was an Aten priest who led the Exodus. While speculative, it adds intrigue to Akhenaten's legacy. The mystery of Akhenaten and Amarna endures, a story that challenges us to confront the unknown and to seek truth amid the ruins. It invites us to wonder what other secrets lie buried in the sands, waiting for those brave enough to dig. The hidden chambers in Tutankhamun's tomb, secrets buried with the boy king. Imagine stepping into a dimly lit chamber deep beneath the Valley of the Kings, where the air is thick with the dust of centuries, and the faint echo of ancient chants seems to linger on the walls. This is the tomb of Tutankhamun, the boy pharaoh who ruled Egypt over 3,300 years ago, a place that has yielded treasures beyond imagination but still guards its deepest secrets. Discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, the tomb was thought to be fully explored, but recent discoveries suggest otherwise. Hidden chambers that may hold untold riches, or even the remains of another royal figure. What lies behind those sealed walls? Could it be the lost tomb of Nefertiti, or something more profound? And why have these chambers remained undetected for so long? Let us journey back to a time of pharaohs and curses to uncover a mystery that continues to captivate the world. The discovery that shook the world. The story of Tutankhamun's tomb begins in the early 20th century when British archaeologist Howard Carter, sponsored by Lord Carnarvon, was searching the Valley of the Kings for undiscovered royal burials. By 1922, after years of fruitless digging, Carnarvon was ready to withdraw funding. But Carter persuaded him for one last season. On November 4th, Carter's team uncovered a step cut into the rock, leading to a sealed doorway stamped with Tutankhamun's cartouche. Breaking through, Carter peered inside with a candle and uttered the famous words, "I see wonderful things." The tomb, KV62, was remarkably intact, filled with over 5,000 artifacts, golden chariots, jeweled daggers, and the iconic death mask. Tutankhamun, who ruled from 1332 to 1323 BCE, died young, perhaps from malaria or a chariot accident, and his tomb was hastily prepared. This small size, of 4 chambers, saved it from robbers, unlike larger tombs. But its modest layout raised questions. Was this all there was? Carter cleared the tomb by 1932, but rumors of hidden spaces persisted. The tomb's design is unusual for a pharaoh, small and undecorated compared to others. Some believe it was originally for a non-royal, repurposed for Tutankhamun due to his sudden death. This theory gained traction in 2015 when Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves proposed hidden chambers behind the north and west walls based on high resolution scans showing lines and voids. The search for hidden spaces. Reeves's theory suggested the tomb was part of a larger complex, perhaps belonging to Nefertiti, Tutankhamun's stepmother or aunt. Nefertiti, wife of Akhenaten, disappeared from records around 1336 BCE, and her tomb has never been found. Reeves argued that Tutankhamun's burial was added to Nefertiti's tomb, with her chambers sealed behind painted walls. Scans showed possible doorways, and the tomb's layout mirrored queenly burials. In 2016, radar scans by a Japanese team detected organic and metallic objects behind the north wall, but results were inconclusive. A second scan by an Italian team in 2018 found no voids, contradicting earlier findings. This discrepancy fueled debate. Was it technical error or deliberate misinformation? In 2019, former Minister of Antiquities Zahi Hawass dismissed hidden chambers, but Reeves stood firm, citing paint analysis showing walls were sealed after decoration. The Egyptian government, protective of tourism, has been cautious, restricting access to avoid damage. The mystery extends to Tutankhamun's death. His mummy shows a broken leg and malaria DNA, but some suggest murder by Ai, his successor, who married Tutankhamun's widow and may have wanted the throne. Hidden chambers could hold evidence, perhaps Nefertiti's mummy or artifacts clarifying the succession. Theories and speculations. Theories about the hidden chambers abound. If they exist, they could contain Nefertiti's burial, making it the discovery of the century. Nefertiti, known from her famous bust, was a powerful queen who may have ruled as pharaoh after Akhenaten's death. Her tomb would reveal much about the Amarna period, a time of religious upheaval. Some speculate the chambers hold treasures or texts explaining Tutankhamun's reign and the restoration of traditional gods after Akhenaten's monotheism. Others believe they are empty, structural features or unfinished parts. The curse of the pharaohs adds intrigue. Carter's team suffered misfortunes after opening the tomb, including Carnarvon's death. Hidden chambers might explain the curse, perhaps with traps or toxins. Conspiracy theories suggest the Egyptian government knows about the chambers, but keeps them secret to control tourism or avoid rewriting history. Hawass has been accused of suppressing findings, but he denies it. These speculations keep the mystery alive, a reminder that even in the age of technology, some secrets remain buried. The legacy of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun's tomb has transformed our understanding of ancient Egypt. Its treasures, over 5,000 items, offer a snapshot of New Kingdom art, religion, and daily life. The death mask, solid gold and inlaid with semi-precious stones, is an icon of Egyptology, but the possibility of hidden chambers suggests there's more to learn. The tomb's discovery popularized Egyptology, inspiring films like The Mummy and books about curses and treasures. It also highlighted preservation challenges. Tourism has damaged the tomb, leading to replica projects. As we reflect on this enigma, we are left with the thrill of the unsolved, a testament to the power of mystery to endure. The hidden chambers of Tutankhamun's tomb invite us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to keep marveling at the wonders of the past. The mystery of Tutankhamun's tomb endures, a story that challenges us to confront the unknown and to seek the light in the darkness of history.